Welcome back to Real Roots Radio. I'm excited to welcome not one, not two, but three wonderful bluegrass singer-songwriters to the program today. Shawn Lane, Darren Nicholson, Reed Jones. Welcome to Real Roots Radio.
Thanks, Daniel.
Howdy.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
It's going to be a really special time when the three of you perform together at Hemisphere Coffee Roasters in Mechanicsburg, Ohio on March the 29th, 7 p.m. showtime. And man, it's going to be really special. Reed, I know that you've been a part of several different shows at Hemisphere Coffee Roasters over the years, haven't you?
Yeah. Hemisphere Coffee Roasters has been a fan of bluegrass music and roots and country music. And Paul and Grace Kurtz, the owners, have been super supportive down through the years. You know, when I was playing with Audie Blaylock in Redline, we had a partnership with them. We had Redline Roast Coffee. And it was it was a great partnership. We did a lot of work together. And since then, you know, we've had several shows there, kind of special event kind of a things. And they're just great people. It's a great atmosphere. It is a great and really unique kind of venue I mean, we're literally playing in a coffee roastery. You know, they wheel all like their warehouse racks and everything out, and it's just really cool space. And they just created a really cool vibe there, great culture. Like I said, they're great people, and I think it just creates a really unique show for people to come check out bluegrass and roots music.
In addition to being a unique setting,
Yeah.
it will be a unique show because Reed, Darren, and Shawn, the three of you, have not performed on stage together. So people are really in for a one-of-a-kind experience on Saturday, March 29th, won't they?
Yeah. Now, I'm super excited about that, and I guess I'm kind of the link in between these two guys because I've played a lot of music and recorded with Reed, and then Shawn and I have we've recorded as of recent. We've recorded together, and then we do a lot of live shows together, and so it was a fun opportunity for all of us to come together and play at the coffee roastery again. And you know, there's a lot of bluegrass and barbecue, but I like bluegrass and coffee.
You're darn right.
And I can get behind that. I love coffee, so I'm
what
always...
what better reason to meet up than coffee? I mean, you couldn't beat it.
Yeah.
Good coffee and good picking. I mean, that's going to be awful hard to beat.
Yeah, one helps the other too, man. You get us hyped up on enough caffeine, who knows what's going to happen.
Fast.
It's exciting for folks attending the show. There will be free coffee and bean to bar chocolate tasting that evening as well. So that'll be a whole lot of fun. Folks can learn more at hemispherecoffeeroasters.com. Darren, you kind of called it. You've been called a lot of things, Darren, but you're being called the link in this event with you and Shawn and Reed. Why did you think that the three of you would make such a great musical pairing to have a one-of-a-kind evening showcasing three top bluegrass singers and songwriters at Hemisphere Coffee Roasters?
Well, it's a similar interest. It all starts with a song, you know, the thing that and the same kind of music that we're all drawn to. Like Reed and I, we get tore up by the Stanley Brothers and Bill Monroe and Flatt and Scruggs, but we also get tore up by Aretha Franklin and Ray Charles and George Jones and Merle Haggard. And so, you know, the music, like when you run into people out on the road who love the same kind of music as you, and there's a common bond and a thread with those people. And the fact that we love songs, you know, it all starts with a song, and both of these guys, the song is kind of first. When we're picking out songs, it's not really as much about the pick-in or showcasing the vocals. Those things kind of come second and third to hey, does this have a good lyric, and is it telling a good story, and can this song impact people? Can they relate to it? And so these guys were I knew these two guys needed to meet.
Yeah, I'm glad you did that, Darren. I can't wait.
Yeah, same here. I think that you're right, Darren. It all comes down to the song, and for me, it comes down to the songwriting and originality. You know, bluegrass is such a type of music that is steeped in tradition and steeped in the past, and we all love to play those classic bluegrass songs by everybody Darren just mentioned. But the thing I love about these two guys is the way that they've contributed their own original music to the bluegrass canon. And to me, that's a really big deal. Like that idea of making something new and then contributing it to that catalog. I have so much respect for people that do that, and it's something I aspire to myself. And so I'm so excited to get to play all of that stuff with these guys.
Of course, Reed, you've worked with Audie Blaylock and Redline for many years, and your song Ran Out of Road that Redline just released, we did a big feature on our network. Darren, of course, many years with Balsam Range, now leading the Darren Nicholson Band, and Shawn Lane with the band Blue Highway just celebrated 30 years and recording a live album right before you make your way up to Mechanicsburg. Darren and Shawn and Reed, why do you think, to kind of harken back to what Reed said on being able to kind of add your own chapters into the bluegrass music songbook, why do you think that's so important for bluegrass in general to continue writing and creating original bluegrass sounds instead of continually kind of redigging from, let me rephrase that. Instead of constantly going back and re-churning up the same old standards we all know and love?
Well, those songs that we heard that turned us upside down were written originally, like Carter Stanley wrote White Dove, and I Just Think I'll Go Away. And it turned me on my head. I mean, I was raised 20 miles from where Ralph Stanley was raised. So I could feel that music in my soul. It's in my blood. And those songs were new to me when I heard them, and I got to figure out who wrote that. Where did it come from? How did that happen? That I feel so much when I hear that song. And he wrote those, so I think, we got to carry it on. We got to write our own stuff and try to send it forward. We got to create just like they did. That's what they were doing. And they got us, they hooked us into the music, and they got us to wanting to play music, so I think that's our part of our journey.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes bluegrass musicians go wrong when we think that we honor those early bluegrass pioneers by just doing their music. I think we honor them by when we do what they did and bring that into the modern era. That's what does it for me. And that's one thing I've loved about, Shawn and all his work with Blue Highway. I've grown up listening to and, playing those songs, and I can think of several songs there, from your all's catalog that are now like bluegrass jam standards and are just part of the catalog. And that doesn't happen if we just do the same thing. We got to make sure the bluegrass family tree actually branches occasionally by introducing new blood to it.
Yeah, when I first heard Blue Ridge Mountain Girl and Tears Fell on Missouri, those songs turned me on my head, just like Carter's music did that to Shawn, and that's how we pass it forward. Maybe one day I'll have a song that does that to a young man. Well, I tell you, I'll tell you a quick story. The first time I met John Metter, you all know John.
Oh yeah.
I met him a few years ago, and we did a thing over in East Tennessee, and he came up to me and he goes, "Mr. Nicholson, I love your music. I've been listening to you since I was a little kid." And I was so angry. I was so mad. I just wanted to strangle him in that moment. I was like, "What? A little kid?" I was like, "How old are you?" And he's like, "Well, I'm 21, sir." And I was like, "Well, I was with Balsam Range for 15 years, so he was 6 or 7 when that band started." And I was like, "Well, I guess you have been listening to my music since you were a little kid." So, we don't realize that the next generation comes along, and we do have they are exposed to our music, and that's how we pay it forward.
Yeah.
That's a great story because, like you said, time flies, and 15 years with Balsam Range, now leading the Darren Nicholson Band. Shawn, Blue Highway's been around 30 years. Darren and Reed both said they absorbed Blue Highway's music as part of their own musical DNA.
Mm-hmm.
What's that mean for you two specifically to see this next generation taking part of what you helped create to kind of pave their own path?
Oh, it makes you feel several different things. Makes you feel old for one thing. But after that, it's kind of an honor to be listened to and have people comment on your songs that way, and that it does things for them and goes to their soul. That's a real honor to have that happen anytime it happens, no matter how many years or who it is.
I want them to be successful so they can pay into Social Security, so Shawn and I are taken care of.
Yeah, because
And
we're nearing that age. So
and don't forget about us, because I'm glad that they're coming on, but we're still playing shows too. Okay.
We're having a lot of fun chatting with Shawn Lane, Darren Nicholson, and Reed Jones. They'll be presenting a wonderful evening of roots and bluegrass music at Hemisphere Coffee Roasters. Learn more at hemispherecoffeeroasters.com. The show takes place 7 o'clock on March the 29th. And Reed, we've mentioned that it will be an intimate setting for an intimate presentation of roots music. I know that you mentioned your friendship with Hemisphere Coffee Roasters, and their slogan is "We shake the hand of the coffee farmer." Why is that so important, and just another aspect of what makes their business so unique?
Yeah, so Paul and Grace Kurtz, who own and operate Hemisphere, they were kind of doing it before it was cool, in the sense that they were doing this direct trade model, and forging relationships with people who grow the coffee, and using that as a way to provide people with dignity and work and respect, and that wasn't exploiting people, like many of the really big coffee growers and importers were. And so they started working directly with farmers, and they've got some pretty powerful stories of the ways that has helped lift folks out of poverty, kind of restore some generational farms to the people who had owned them for so long when they were in a situation where they weren't going to get to keep them. And so just that kind of operating a business with a sense of integrity. I just think they do business the way that it should be done. And they're able to be successful, I think, in part because they are generous, heartfelt people. And I just think that the way that they approach coffee is the same way that I have always approached music, and that is coffee and music are both the product of people and place. And when you start thinking of a certain group of people at a certain place in geography, a certain place in time, and all these things mix together to create this thing. And, both music and coffee are things that people gather around, it just, to me, is the absolute perfect combination. And for a coffee snob like myself, I mean, it just gets no better.
I love it. I love it. The show takes place Hemisphere Coffee Roasters on March the 29th. Learn more about the Coffee Roasters, get tickets, and learn more about their mission at hemispherecoffeeroasters.com. We mentioned this is the first time the three of you will be on stage in this setting. What can folks expect? And I typically ask that for fans that maybe haven't seen the show before, but nobody's seen this show before. So I know folks are dying to know, is it going to be more like a songwriters in the round? You're going to be trading off, showcasing different originals in addition to a few select classics, or what are folks, what can folks look forward to on the 29th?
The answer to all that is yes.
Yeah. And Shawn's right. When folks come out, I think the plan is the first set is going to be a songwriters in the round type thing, where we go through and share our songs, and then we can also play along if we know each other's music, which most of the songs we can kind of play along, and we can talk about the history of the song. And then the second set will we'll stand up and we'll actually do a performance where it's more of like a trio show, and both of these guys play multiple instruments, and they sing all the parts. And so there's going to be trio singing, duet singing. We will reach back and play some old numbers that folks want to hear, some gospel music. That's a big part of, and some of the old duet style things that Shawn and I always put in our show, which I think is a part of a big part of that thing. And it is Americana when it comes to, I love the coffee shop mentality, and bluegrass music has that same mentality. It's the place where it's the only music where fans can go and shake the hands of the musicians. and develop relationships. And it's very much like sitting down and having a cup of coffee with your favorite artist. And you can't find that in any other form of music. It's very special.
That's true. You know, they're both things you look forward to. They feel like home. Coffee and bluegrass. I mean, that's two really good things.
HemisphereCoffeeRoasters.com to learn more. Darren, I've got to ask, one of your new singles that was just recently released, we've been loving here on Real Roots Radio. Will you be performing Any Highway that evening?
Yes, sir. We're going to do it. Shawn and I, we did it Saturday night in Boone, North Carolina. We'll be doing it up there. Thanks for asking about that song. That's what the first one that Charles Humphrey and I wrote together, and we've wrote about 100 since then. But that was the very first one we wrote together.
Oh, what was the impetus behind that song, particularly since it was the first one that you two wrote together?
Well, it's just kind of a tale of boy meets girl. She dances with boy. She breaks heart. Boy's got to skip out of town. I mean, that's a bluegrass song if there's ever been one.
Hey, you'll hear it at Hemisphere Coffee Roasters Saturday, March the 29th. Let's hear it right now. Shawn and Darren and Reed, thank you guys so much for joining us on Real Roots Radio.
Thanks for having us, Daniel.
Thanks for playing the music, brother.
Yes, sir.
Hi, thanks for watching. If you liked our video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and hit subscribe so you'll be notified when we have new videos posting. Be sure to check out some of our other content as well. Thanks for watching.